The Saturday Morning Hangover.
Welcome one and all to the Saturday Morning Hangover. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. You can watch us live on ESPN San Antonio's Facebook page. Go like it. You can watch us live on ESPN San Antonio's YouTube channel. Go subscribe. You can see the bright, shining, beautiful, freshly trimmed face of the one and only James Pledger. I'm RJ Ochoa. What up?
And we beautifully cultivated it for you on ESPNSA.com. It is
That's
featured
right.
content. So
That's right.
all you got to do is go there. We're right at the top of the page.
So there's a lot
guys.
There are a lot of options for you to watch. And basically that means that if you're not watching,
You're not
I'm
trying.
offended. Well, I'm offended. I'm just deeply offended if you're not watching. Pledge and I even matched today. We both wore red. The red is something that whenever somebody asks a question I don't know the answer to, I just always respond with the word red. Whoa. Okay. Seems like a button got pushed. It wasn't supposed to get pushed.
It's not true.
Well, I felt good for a moment there.
You should. That was for you.
Are you watching the Bundesliga?
No, actually, I'm not.
Bayern and I'm going to probably butcher this. Leverkusen are tied at 1 in the 32nd minute right now.
I don't have the channel in my studio.
You don't have FS1?
We got like the regular 100 channels or whatever, so I can't get up into the 400s.
There's like 500 channels in there.
I'm aware, but that's in the actual studio, not in my production studio.
So you could watch it through the pane, but it would be not fun.
Yeah.
So okay.
Mic stands in the way.
What's on your TV?
Nothing, actually. It's off.
Oh,
which is surprising.
Yeah, maybe because you're doing a show. I mean, I don't know. That would be my guess. But so what's going on, Pledge? How you been since I talked to you? 17 hours ago, something like that.
Shorter than that, right?
Yeah, that 14 hours ago. There we go. That math is off. I went all the way back to the beginning of the Blitz. That's my bad.
I'm good. Well, you weren't there for the beginning of the Blitz, so
I know that's why I called an audible.
It's good. Went home, had a nice dinner.
What'd you have for dinner?
I actually got
what's on the grill this weekend.
I don't know what's on the grill, but I got some Whataburger on the way home, and that was delicious.
Okay.
Right. And then I called it an early night because had to do this with you.
Nothing. No streaming options. You didn't watch anything. We're not watching anything special this weekend.
I don't have any plans to watch anything special.
I watched another episode of Seinfeld. I admitted yesterday that I'm watching through it.
Finally.
Well, I did. So here's the thing. We were talking because Jason had never seen The Office and we were shaming him.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen like the first 4 seasons of Seinfeld. And to be fair, it was the first time I tried to watch it all the way through. And that was like in 2013. So this is my second attempt and I'm starting from the beginning. So I'm at the beginning of season 2. Last night, I watched the episode where Jerry thought he killed his aunt. Because of the pony comments. And so it was an interesting episode, certainly seeing Jerry. I've always heard that Seinfeld's the show about anything and that you could watch a Seinfeld episode and not need to watch any others, and the show lives up to that hype. IMO.
Yeah. I mean, Seinfeld's one of my favorite rewatches just randomly during the middle of the night. I have things that because I have to be so plugged in all week. There are certain shows that I like to just kind of unplug to. As I like to mention, there are things that, they can be on in the background and I'm not even really, I can check in at any point and know what's going on. Seinfeld is one of those shows.
On that subject, how bummed were you when Netflix took How I Met Your Mother off?
I have Hulu.
Okay. Oh, sorry, bragger.
We're good.
Okay.
I got the Disney Plus bundles, so I ended up getting both How I Met Your Mother and Archer back. So because
Okay.
both of them left Netflix on me at around the same time.
I still haven't watched an entire thing on Disney Plus. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe
Well, you're
I know
absolutely missing out. There's so many great things on there.
I know The Mandalorian's great. I know you're mad that I haven't finished it. But you know what? That's fine. I'm not gonna let that bring me down. Are you?
I mean, it might bring me down for a second, but I think during the break I could probably collect my thoughts.
We have something to address on today's show. We
Uh-oh.
started a movement last week. Not really a movement. We started just a thing. We started an activity, which is more than we usually accomplish here. We decided because the NBA, as Woj put it, is back. Oh my gosh. Like all-time Woj, not bomb, but Woj tweet. You know what I mean? Just the NBA is back. And I feel like people have been trying way too hard to say like something is back since the Jordan doc. You know what I mean? Like everyone's trying to have their Jordan facts moment. And so, it's cool. There are other ways to say that, but that's fine. Woj saying it was still awesome. So last week, Pledge, we each proposed.
Texas is back, folks.
Thank you, Joe. But
it's a little early to the party.
Yeah, man, that game was so wild. Like I never not think about how. Anyway, we each proposed 5 NBA teams to be the official team of the Saturday morning hangover. We said we would reconvene today once we knew post show who was going to be involved. And we now know that the Spurs' path to their race for Sace is pretty big uphill battle. But we have other teams to choose from. And
of the teams we have to choose from, the 10 that we initially started out with, all 10 are still available.
Look at us. Look at us.
So
good on us. So we will officially pick the team of the Saturday morning hangover today. If you want to help us choose, you always can. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are open 656-3776 at 656 ESPN if you don't like numbers. You can also tweet at us on the Matt Murphy's Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed. He is at I Am Pledger. I am at RJ Ochoa. You can also comment on Facebook, on YouTube. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of ways to access us. And so if you're, messing this up, that's on you. Christopher says, good morning, gents. Top of the morning to you, Christopher. Hope it's well. Hope you had some coffee and a pastry. I'm going to go there. Hope it was a pastry. Did you have anything?
Why a pastry? Or a pastry?
I don't know. There are some mornings that pastries are more optimal. You know what I mean?
This doesn't feel like that morning, though.
It does. Like, don't get me wrong. There are, most mornings are taco mornings, but there are some mornings that are like, you know what? Muffin. You know what? Donut. You know what? Scone. You know what I mean? Like, what's your top pastry for breakfast?
Strudel.
I disagree.
Okay. You asked mine.
I know, and it's wrong. I mean, it can be wrong. The fact that you said it can be wrong. So, it is what it is. Christopher says Monster and a taco morning. Donuts are on deck. We need to head over to Christopher's house. Man, that is that's got everything that we're sort of talking about and sort of setting the table for. No pun intended. But yeah. Also, baseball not back. I cannot believe. I know we started talking about this yesterday. I cannot believe how petty. I don't even know if that's the best word, but just how petty baseball owners are being here.
You're siding with the players?
Yeah, I will always side with the players.
Okay.
In any argument, generally.
Okay.
Who are you siding with?
I'm siding with you either want to play or you don't. Like, there are a lot of people that have had to make concessions during COVID-19. Baseball players shouldn't be exempt to that.
I'm not saying they should be exempt. But in the general sense, like that's what I said, like if I knew nothing about a situation and you said the players and owners are fighting, I will generally lean players. And I think we've seen MLB players kind of put some owners on blast, with paying minor league players and things like that. And so, I think I think that the players are in the right place. I'm not saying either party is. I don't think any party is ever 100% right, but they're all gonna flub this. It really does feel that way.
This feels like it's doomed to just backfire horribly to where nobody looks good. Like just in general, baseball looks bad.
Yeah, and I mean, good luck, like for real. Good luck competing against college football, against the NFL, against the NBA, and against just fall activities. Like, I know that we would all rather watch any of those sports over even a really good regular season baseball game. Would you pledge rather go to a fiesta activity, than watch even like Astros Yankees? Like if your option was watch Astros Yankees at home, regular season game, or go downtown and watch and participate in fiesta, what would you rather do?
Astros Yankees. I know that's weird, but I'm not a fan of like just going downtown when it's insanely crowded.
Well, okay,
last time I did that, my Uber cost me $100 to get home.
So first of all, let's assume that going around a large crowd of people is safe, right? Like let's
exactly
assume that. But I get your point. I had a roommate that used to say like, it'd be like, "Do you want to go there?" And he'd be like, "No." And he'd be like, "Why?" He'd be like, "I hate people." So I
don't hate people, but
yeah, I think in that sense you empathize, but I think you can at least admit though that I think the average San Antonioan would rather go participate in a fiesta they missed as opposed to watching an Astros game. But the cries would be put the Astros game on or wherever they were. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Christopher Lewis agrees with me, so obviously you're wrong.
Okay. Well, Christopher's a wise man, as evidenced by his dietary choices today. We had a weird Friday in terms of the NFL. Weird in terms of things that I never thought we would see from the NFL. Two statements, one from the National Football League itself, including Commissioner Roger Goodell, and then late last night, the latest one from New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. And there is a lot to discuss on that. We will do that next, as well as have all the fun in the world after this, right here on the Saturday Morning Hangover.
The Backyard Butchers are open in brand new locations right now with 20 ribeyes for $29. That's almost $1 a steak. Look for the big white truck in the parking lot at Windsor Park Center in Windcrest, Rolling Oaks Mall and South Park Mall in San Antonio, at Floresville Tractor Supply, and Bandera Point in Helotes by Target. Remember, look for the big white truck to get 20 ribeyes for $29. Also, stock up on T-bones, crab legs, shrimp, chicken, and pork. Go to thebackyardbutchers.com for more info. Thebackyardbutchers.com.
Getting to work is a little different right now. Your new commute may be to the kitchen, or the couch, or the basement. If your commute has changed, you could be saving money on car insurance. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you get the same reliable coverage you'd expect, but only pay for the miles you drive. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes the daily rates, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
Now that the weather's heating up, the backyard is in play. And Lowe's can help you create memories at home all summer long. Enjoy dinner al fresco with the new Pelham Bay 7-piece patio set, now starting at just $219. What's for dinner? Burgers, of course, on the new grill. Enjoy free local delivery when you buy a grill $398 or more. Summer is open. Download our app and discover what's possible at Lowe's. While supplies last, applies to standard delivery in U.S. only. Purchase special calculated before taxes. After applicable discounts, if any. More fees may apply. Selections vary by market. See Lowe's.com for details.
Howdy, Mr. Wildfire. What can I get you today?
Well, I'll have a toasted wood-shaped shingle sandwich, the backyard dry brush salad, and an old gazebo sundae, sprinkled with precious photos and family heirlooms.
Anything to drink, sweet pea?
Yeah, carelessly stored paint thinner.
Knowing what Wildfire likes to eat is half the battle. Visit firewise.org to find out how you can help make your home more defensible against wildfires. Firewise.org, a public service brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
To match your pretty eyes.
Nope. See, all colors have wavelengths that are diffused by oxygen and nitrogen. Since blue has the shortest wavelength, it's diffused up to 10 times more.
Who taught you that?
Mommy.
By 6th grade, too many girls lose interest in math and science, which they'll need for most future jobs. Keep her interest alive. For ideas, go to girlsgotech.org. It's her future. Do the math. A public service message brought to you by Girl Scouts of the USA and the Ad Council.
At the karaoke bar, Greg shows the telltale signs of being wasted. First off, he's in a karaoke bar. On stage, he can't read the lyrics on the monitor. Greg decides to freestyle rap.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many to drive. But what if you've had just one too many to drive? Never underestimate just a few. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
What?
Oi! Welcome back.
Step into the spotlight.
I was going to say San Antonio Morning Hangover. Kind of works.
I mean, we are the voice of San Antonio.
That's right. What up, Alamo City? Happy Saturday morning. This is the Saturday Morning Hangover. He is James Pledger. I am RJ Ochoa. And the NFL is a much different place than it was 24 hours ago. Is that a fair assessment, Hyman?
Let's see. Something I never thought would happen, as in the NFL and Roger Goodell took.
Okay. Well, we all know what happened and what has been happening up until yesterday.
Yes.
And we all are well aware, to call it a controversy is putting it incredibly mildly, of the controversy that Drew Brees found himself in this week due to his statements on the Yahoo Finance show, and talking about disrespect for the flag, etc. And before we dive much further, we say this all the time. We always try our best not to dive into politics here on ESPN San Antonio, but these worlds have kind of crossed over this week. And so we are living in the middle of that Venn diagram right now. And so we saw Drew Brees apologize, not once, but twice, to people that he felt he hurt with his comments. Yesterday, on Friday, the president of the United States, President Donald Trump, tweeted in support of Drew Brees' initial comments and said that he didn't feel like Drew had to have apologized. And I thought Jason made a great point on the Blitz that, those comments would cause Drew Brees more harm in the locker room and throughout the NFL than maybe they were originally intended to. And so that was an issue. And I think that was also a predictable thing. If you just follow American politics or the NFL, I think we all thought that the president would at some point, because he's addressed this issue so many times before, would tweet about this, and he did. And so that was kind of where it felt like things were going to sit and chill up until Roger Goodell got in the cave. Roger Goodell, commissioner of the National Football League, who has just about done everything wrong in the eyes of the players over the last 14 years, released a statement over the NFL social channels that addressed the statement that the players themselves made on Thursday evening. And, here's what Commissioner Goodell had to say.
It has been a difficult time for our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black lives matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much needed change in this country. Without Black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of Black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening. And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
Big time statement from the NFL from Commissioner Roger Goodell on Friday, coming after 5 o'clock, even Central Time. So, I don't know if that was strategic, but
impressive. He went back to the side of the draft to make this announcement.
That's true. Not on the couch or the Barker Lounger, but it was apparently, at least judging by the acoustics, it was his basement. But I said this yesterday that I think the most significant detail about what Roger Goodell said isn't anything that he said, not to belittle anything he said, but it was that it came in the aftermath of the president's tweets about Drew Brees, because to this point, we have seen the NFL continually side overwhelmingly with the president of the United States, and whatever your political affiliations and ideals and beliefs are, that's just the way the NFL's handled its business for the last 4 years. And so this seemed like a direct opposition without really saying they were directly opposing him. But then a few hours later, there was a legitimate direct opposition. Drew Brees, for the third time, spoke publicly since his comments, that started this whole thing, took off on, was that Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
On his Instagram and his Twitter. If you're watching the Saturday Morning Hangover on Facebook or YouTube Live, you can see this thanks to our super impressive and fancy technology.
Things about to get weird.
It's about to get weird. Pledge is about to do something he's never done in terms of this production. So buckle up. Anyway, Drew Brees took to Instagram, and here is his post. This was last night about 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30ish, to President Trump. Through my ongoing conversations with friends, teammates, and leaders in the Black community, I realize this is not an issue about the American flag. It has never been. We can no longer use the flag to turn people away or distract them from the real issues that face our Black communities. We did this back in 2017, and regretfully, I brought it back with my comments this week. We must stop talking about the flag and shift our attention to the real issues of systemic racial injustice, economic oppression, police brutality, and judicial and prison reform. We are at a critical juncture in our nation's history. If not now, then when? We as a white community need to listen and learn from the pain and suffering of our Black communities. We must acknowledge the problems, identify the solutions, and then put this into action. The Black community cannot do it alone. This will require all of us. There were a lot of, I don't say takes, but a lot of, tweets. Another fourth quarter comeback for Drew Brees, and this was, I don't want to call it a challenge because it was seemingly done in a very polite way, but this was Drew Brees saying, I appreciate, the kind words, but no, you know what I mean? And the fact that he even said that they did that back in 2007. Yesterday, we got two admissions. Roger Goodell saying that they were wrong, and Drew Brees admitting that they made it about the flag and got away from the point of it all back in 2017. A lot has changed, Pledge, in the last 15 hours.
Yeah, and I know some people won't take Drew Brees' latest comments as believable in terms of you had this opinion, you had this opinion 4 days ago.
Some people think he's just placating to
social pressure
Curry fans.
Yeah. And that's fine, but he said in his Instagram video that he had the day before, the second apology,
right,
which was actually the second apology of that day. He had a written one that wasn't good enough, so then he came on video
and he said, I want you to see me whatever.
Yeah, and it's not going to take place with words. I understand it's going to take place with act, and the video cut off, so he got killed for that. But he was saying actions, and this is a big action because, President Trump came out in full support of Drew Brees and his comments, and Drew Brees was like, no, I mean, after talking with my teammates and my friends in this community, that we missed the mark last time. By it being addressed again, I tried to shift the narrative off of what the real issue was. And I always said back in 2017, the protests never bother me because it's not disrespect for the flag, because part of the reason that our military is over there fighting, it's not disrespecting our troops, because part of the reason they're over there fighting is for our freedom and right to be able to protest. That's one of the things and freedoms that they're actually fighting for us. So I never had a problem with the initial protests as they came across, because I've spoke with many a military that explained to me, yeah, that's that, the freedom to protest, that's one of the things we're over there fighting for. So by him doing that, and then a former Green Beret actually having him take the knee instead of sitting on the bench during the anthem.
What do you make of, I think a lot of people thought about the NFL statement yesterday before Drew Brees's, that okay, the popular tweet going around was, okay, this is a great first step, but we need to see legitimate action. Do you think the NFL is prepared to take legitimate action? Or do you think that they're just, placating the social pressure right now?
Probably a little column A, little column B. I mean, because how else do you really affect change? There has to be some amount of pressure placed on you. People don't willingly change from the status quo for the most part. It's usually forced upon them in some way, shape, or fashion, by whether it's peer pressure from an outside source or from within, or in this case, from what seems like every direction. You have to get on board with this. It is the right thing to do. It's been ignored for far too long, and George Floyd basically just shoved it in our face in terms of watching a man be killed by police brutality right in front of us. Like, we can't say that it's not really a thing because it was shown to us.
I really just I still can't believe what the NFL said and what Drew Brees said, just through the prism of the NFL, because they have done everything they can to avoid this. There's a guy who used to work with us at SB Nation now, works in New York, Charles McDonald, great NFL mind, and he talked about how he felt. He was tweeting about this, how he felt whiplash, because this is all, we've been going at like 10 miles an hour, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, like, we're like flooring this thing at 80. And so it's a lot seemingly happening very quickly. And so I think, I thought what Calvin Watkins tweeted yesterday was really noteworthy. He said that the players have always had the power. They just never really realized it or never really utilized it. And I think a lot happened certainly when the players made the video that they did on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
There was a handful of NFL players that spoke up and challenged the league to support them. Zeke Elliott in that video, Deshaun Watson in that video, Pat Mahomes, Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson,
Michael
Saquon
Thomas,
Barkley, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas led the movement to start that video. And Michael Thomas last night, among the Saints players, kind of tweeting in support of Drew Brees. He quoted Drew's tweet with the post and said, "My QB." Mark Ingram, lots of Saints players. Obviously, Mark's a former Saint, but lots of Saints players really taking to support of what Drew Brees said. This was a wild week in the NFL with nothing happening. June is typically the most quiet month of the NFL calendar, and this past week felt like a month in a lot of ways. And just in terms of NFL news, and there wasn't like a lot of news, but there was one thing that dominated the conversation.
I look at it and I look at the way that people are getting change to finally come across, and especially in the NFL, where it seems like they win 100% of the time in whatever way that they want to get. And they did that in 2017.
Well, Drew Brees.
But admitting and acknowledging wrongdoing 4 years ago and the fact that things need to change, that feels like a massive step for the NFL and Roger Goodell to admit fault at anything.
Drew Brees had quite the week, needless to say. What's going on in the world of the Dallas Cowboys? Because there's the NFL world, and then there's the Dallas Cowboys world. Let's talk about that next. Don't go anywhere. We have you covered for the rest of time here on the Saturday Morning Hangover.
We see you.
We hear you.
We denounce systemic racism,
We condemn violence,
inequity,
and injustice.
We pledge to use the power of our platform to spread facts and educate our communities.
We will be the change that we are calling for.
We are united for justice.
Nails on a Chalkboard has more listeners. Dan Levitine, weekdays 9 till noon, only on San Antonio Sports Leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
I'm Josh Levine, co-founder of Tiger Lady, the self-defense tool that ensures you're always aware and prepared when you're alone. At Tiger Lady, we take your safety seriously, and more than ever, people are on edge and looking for ways to feel more secure. Having the means to protect yourself is so important. If you're ever in a dangerous situation, Tiger Lady can help. It's so lightweight, you can easily carry it with you anywhere, the market, the doctor, or to work. If you feel threatened, give it a squeeze, and claws will appear like a real-life Wolverine. We designed Tiger Lady's claws with hollow channels to collect DNA, making it easier to identify the perpetrator. We hope you never have to use Tiger Lady, but we do know it will give you or someone you love an extra sense of security. It's something you know that nobody else knows. We know that times are tough, so for a limited time, we're offering 30% off plus free shipping when you use code TIGER at TigerLady.com. Just use the code TIGER at TigerLady.com for 30% off your order. From the Tiger Lady family to yours, wishes for good health and safety in the times ahead.
Place to discriminate and to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Yeah, madness is what you demonstrate, and that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love.
Happy Saturday morning. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Hangover, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. You can watch us live on ESPN San Antonio's Facebook page or ESPN San Antonio's YouTube channel. Go like or subscribe to either platform, preferably both. You can also listen to this segment on the Blog and the Boys podcast feed. What up, BTB? Available on all major podcast platforms, Apple devices, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. James Pledger, I'm RJ Ochoa. The Dallas Cowboys will not be heading to Oxnard, California this season. Your thoughts? Actually, let me start this way. We went to Oxnard together last year for Cowboys camp. Had a good time. That won't be happening this year.
I'm saddened. I enjoyed Oxnard. I was looking forward to the trip this year, but understandable at the same time. This will be the first time since 2012 that they won't be in Oxnard. 2012 was when they started going to Oxnard, so first time since 2011.
Right, and that was here in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the most popular place it's been this millennium, except for Oxnard, California, and obviously a lot of San Antonians would love to see the Cowboys return here. But I used to say before they imploded it or before those plans started, I thought, why don't they just keep Texas Stadium and hold it there? That would be cool, but obviously that's impossible now. But they will be having their training camp. Every NFL team will at their world headquarters. The Dallas Cowboys just happen to have the most elaborate and exquisite world headquarters of all NFL teams with the Star in Frisco. It makes sense due to the coronavirus pandemic that we're all still dealing with. It's smart. It's safe. And so, good for the NFL making that decision, but the Cowboys now just going to be stuck at home.
Well,
working from home.
It makes sense in the terms of they can kind of got a huddle mentality of bunkering in. They've got everything that they need at the Star. They have training camp at the Star after they finish up at Oxnard. Anyway,
they always have like the last 10 days there. Yeah.
There will obviously be a home element, but there's also the ability for them to still have almost an Oxnard type element in terms of they have the hotel on the training facilities there. You could literally bring everybody in and kind of bunker in mentality and eliminate the outside world element of possible coronavirus infection and just kind of bubble. You can still get that
summer
bubble
camp vibes that you get at Oxnard. Yeah, by everybody going and being in their own hotels and everybody being together, you could still do that. if you want, obviously.
So it makes the most sense, especially for where we're at. It's a bummer that they won't be in Oxnard because it seems good for them. Like they really seem to kind of come together out there, and then they usually play that first preseason game out there in Los Angeles or San Diego or wherever they may be anyway, out on the left coast. So that's going to be different, but we don't even really know if we're going to have preseason games this year either.
Yeah, I mean, and if there are preseason games, how many fans are going to be at them? I mean, there's so many questions left to answer about the NFL season. But I just, and I'm not a doctor by any means, I have a hard time seeing how the NFL season doesn't happen. We're so close, obviously, to seemingly the return of the NBA, soccer leagues all over the world, the PGA Tour, the NHL. Looking at you, MLB, but I mean, I think that, and I hope not, certainly, but I think it's fair to expect, at the very least, logistical problems from these leagues starting back up, right? Somebody's going to run into something that they forgot, to think of, and they'll address it in the moment. And so the NFL has an opportunity to watch everybody do that, and so I think that the NFL will happen. You're right, preseason games are certainly a question mark. I don't know what happens with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson and Cliff Harris, part of this year's centennial class. And there was already, I don't know if people are totally aware of this, because of the larger than normal class, there were already going to be two different enshrinement ceremonies. One kind of the normal one, and then a later one to honor the larger members that are part of the centennial class. And so I think, and the Cowboys are scheduled to play in the Hall of Fame game. So when that happens, they send the whole team there, and because there's obviously a prominent Cowboy going in, and they all watch the enshrinement together. I don't know if all that happens.
I don't see it happening. I don't see I've seen what the NFL enshrinement ceremonies for Hall of Fame weekend look like, with the throngs of people over the lawn watching on the big TV. It looks like a concert, like a massive packed concert. I don't see how you can have that vibe in this climate.
There's a lot of reason why that makes sense. So maybe the Cowboys won't go. Maybe they'll, maybe we'll see them on Zoom, in their meeting room at the Star watching Jimmy's speech or something, some derivative of that. But I don't want to say, I think a lot of Blogging the Boys readers and listeners have reached this point where there's a lot of hype from everywhere about the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
Peter King wrote in last week's Football Morning in America column, he did some power rankings. He had, I don't know if you saw these pledges, this was a few days ago now, almost a full week ago, but he had the Dallas Cowboys as his 9th team.
Oh, nice.
Right, and that's fair, right? Like, they're a top 10 team.
I've seen them 5th in most football power rankings.
But look, I'm not upset about 9th, right? That's that's fair.
But
get
I
upset.
want you to. That's a disgrace.
No, what's a disgrace? Two things are a disgrace. And we talked about this past week on the Blitz, how he said, I didn't like the CeeDee Lamb pick because they should have gone defense. Dude, what? Anyway.
You got Trayvon Diggs in the 2nd round, man.
Yeah, exactly. But at number 8 in his power rankings, because obviously there's 8 teams ahead of you if you're number 9. The Las Vegas Raiders were number 8.
You mean the team that didn't make the playoffs last year?
Well, the Cowboys didn't either for that, for going off that. But
we can agree that the NFC was a tougher get in, though, right?
Sure, but forget that the Cowboys were 9th for a second. In what universe are the Raiders a top 8 team, regardless of who's in front or behind them?
The 1970s universe?
That was
right.
I don't get it. I really don't. But
I mean, that's fine. Be outraged. The biggest question I have as we come into the season with the Cowboys and training camp being held at home and the possibility of no preseason games is, what does that mean for possible joint practices?
Well, the NFL said this week that they will not be having any when they announced that training camps would be at teams' own facility. So you won't get any fights, on the fields in Oxnard or wherever the case. Pledge is a Houston Texans fan for all our BTB listeners. And so they trained with, was it the Washington Redskins in recent years?
Yes.
And so that was the Hard Knocks year, right?
There have been many fights throughout. There was one with the Saints. Like they've gotten their share of scraps.
Right. So
it seems
no
to be one per year.
I mean, I don't think that there's, it would certainly have been ideal to go to Oxnard, at least for us. It's always a good time, but I will miss the Toppers Pizza very much. But
Pizza
we
Van
also, also this week, Mike McCarthy was allowed to return to the Star. Lego, he's back.
He's back. He's back in the building, and I don't understand
we've got
why
the classic. He's in the building. It works now.
I don't understand why no joint practices though, in terms of off season, because these teams are going to have to travel anyway. If you're not going to have preseason games, this is the best way to supplement it. And they're very controlled anyway. It's not like they're having full out scrimmages. They're able to control a whole lot more through those than most.
My thought on that,
and travel's going to have to be a part of the season.
Right. So my thought is every time a team travels, they're going to have to go through an enormous set of protocols, right? I mean, it would be impossible to try to list everything they're going to have to do.
Although I've done this team traveling thing when we were with the Commanders. It's a different set of rules for the NFL teams. They're not going through the airport and waiting at the gate.
But they're going. What I'm talking about protocols is due to the pandemic. Like they're every time they travel, they're going to be tests and tests and tests and quarantine situations. You're not going to be able to do this or go here or whatever. It's going to be a lot of work to move an NFL team this offseason every week. And so my thought on that is why not? Why no joint practices, etc. That is number one. You're probably taking far more people during a joint practice than you would for an away game, because you're taking so much training staff and medical staff to be part of the training camp experience. That's one thing. But the second thing is, if we're to call it let's call all the work involved one token, right? Like a token at like a game, right? Why burn a token when you are going to have to burn 8 of them, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's a practice for
I'll
that,
tell you why though. I'll tell you why you burn that token, because if there are problems with the first token, you get to fix it. Like you can find protocols to fix it faster than trying to do it mid-season.
That's why I think we will see at least like 1 or 2 preseason games for every NFL team, because they will need, to that point, at the very least, an opportunity to practice the regimen. You know what I mean? The regimen of, and I think every team will maybe get 1 home and 1 away preseason game, so they can all have their home game situation run through and their away game situation run through. That makes sense to me. We'll see how that ultimately unfolds, but I could see that happening, just because you're right. Like, you don't want to, especially, your Houston Texans on the road week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't want to find the problems, on the way to taking on Pat Mahomes.
Wouldn't be ideal.
Yeah. So, we'll see. The Cowboys, though, week 1 will go to California. Even if they aren't going there for training camp, as they will take on the Los Angeles Rams. We did schedule predictions, or not schedule predictions, but we went through and predicted every game on the schedule on Friday's episodes of the Ocho and Girls Talking Boys. And Meg Murray and Kelsey Charles both had the Cowboys finishing at 10-6. What do you think I had them finishing at, Pledge?
9-7.
Wrong. I'll give you one more guess.
Okay. You didn't do 8-8, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Well, you said you've been preaching all since the schedule release, because we've talked about this. 10 wins is a hard barometer, and I don't see them getting there with a first-year coaching staff and all this new talent.
This is your last chance
have
to
you
guess.
Already just blown out your previous take from
Give me
a
a
month
number.
ago?
Give me a number of a guess.
11.
I had them at 11-5.
That was mine, and you said there is no way that is too hard.
But that was the reason why we went through and we did a crossover episode, because we hadn't gone game by game and predicted them. That's an important exercise. So these were my 5 losses. I had the Cowboys losing week 3 in Seattle to the Seahawks, obviously. So the bird gauntlet will not be accomplished. I had them losing week 6 at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Just because, well, I mean, that, by the way, the official team of the Saturday Morning Hangover. I had them losing week 8 on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's 3 losses.
Can I pick the next loss?
If you want to, sure.
Can I, or guess it? I mean,
Sure.
Baltimore?
No. Actually, I'm forgetting now. I think I had them losing. Oh, no, sorry. My 4th loss was at home on Thanksgiving to the Washington Redskins. So I had them losing that game. That's their 4th loss. And both Meg and Kelsey had them losing to the Baltimore Ravens. I do not. I think and the Cowboys, and I said this with the lone exception of last year against Chicago, they are typically very good in the Thursday after Thanksgiving slot. They typically play that game very well, and that's when they have the Ravens. But my 5th loss was at home against the 49ers in week 15. So, Christopher Luis, might be Louis. I'm going to guess it's Luis. So apologies if it is Louis Christopher on Facebook, talked about, and we did talk about this in our long crossover episode about the possibility of less fans or no fans, etc. Because going to Seattle is obviously a tough ask for any NFL team. That's a really, really raucous crowd. And so, even with no fans, I still think the Cowboys lose that game. It has nothing to do, for me, with the environment. It just has to do with the fact that Russell Wilson is awesome and the Seahawks are a very good team. And, the Cowboys.
DJ Metcalf's coming into his own.
Yeah, the Cowboys will lose. You know what I mean? They will lose to good teams.
You bite your tongue.
I think I think the worst loss.
Cowboys are going 16-0. You bite your tongue.
I think the worst loss, not from a quantitative standpoint, but the loss that will stick in people's craw the most.
Oh, it's going to be the Thanksgiving loss to the.
That's what
Redskins.
I was. Yeah, that I
just by you rattling off your losses, I already knew which one it was.
Yeah, I don't think that people will I don't think they'll lose 35-3 or something, but that loss will have people mad. You know what I mean? Like, we lost to Ron Rivera and, blah, blah, blah. Like, that will be a long 7 days.
How did Kyle Allen beat us?
Oh my gosh. Wow. What a take.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you think Dwayne Haskins is going to be the quarterback?
You can, of course, listen to this segment on the Blog and the Boys podcast feed, where you can listen to all of our great shows on the Blog and the Boys network. We are available on all major podcast platforms, Apple devices, Spotify, TuneIn Radio. He is James Pledger. I am RJ Ochoa. This is
let
the
me
Saturday
get this right, though.
Hangover.
We both got them going 11-5 this year now.
We do. And maybe next week in our
That's Unity.
Saturday morning hangovers.
That's what Unity looks like, guys.
Well, what I was going to say is maybe on next week's segment that we put on the podcast feed, we'll talk about how far we have them going in the playoffs. How's that for a tease? A week-long tease. So, don't hold your breath for the whole week.
Such a weak tease.
Yeah, but just get ready for it. Again, shout out to BTB. Shout out to San Antonio. We'll be back after this.
This is the only time you've wanted to wake up with a hangover.
You serious?
The Saturday Morning Hangover with RJ Ochoa and James Pledger. Getting you ready for all the weekend's games and then some. The Saturday Morning Hangover. Get ready for a hangover without the headache. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio. 94.5 FM. And on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned family-run business. Since day one, founder Alan Townsend's goal was to set the standard in the water softener industry. They're a great local company. They support other small local businesses. And at Alamo Water Softeners, their goal is to educate and guide their customers joyfully with a servant's heart while offering affordable water softeners. Learn more online at alamowatersofteners.com. Check out their Facebook page or call Alamo Water Softeners at 210-274-6122.
M18580.
Will's All Pro.
Will, do you want me to hire more plumbers? Yes. Working at Will's All Pro is a dream job. To apply, text Will, WILL, to 2500. Will's All Pro Plumbing is growing.
The Backyard Butchers are open in brand new locations right now with 20 ribeyes for $29. That's almost $1 a steak. Look for the big white truck in the parking lot at Windsor Park Center in Windcrest, Rolling Oaks Mall and South Park Mall in San Antonio, at Floresville Tractor Supply, and Bandera Point in Helotes by Target. Remember, look for the big white truck to get 20 ribeyes for $29. Also, stock up on T-bones, crab legs, shrimp, chicken, and pork. Go to thebackyardbutchers.com for more info. Thebackyardbutchers.com.
The Dan Levitard Show with Stu Guys. Weekdays 9 to noon.
Dak Prescott said Zeke Elliott opens up the Cowboys offense. What Dak left out was, but he doesn't open it enough where he'd be willing to take less money so the Cowboys can sign both of us. Dak, the Liam Neeson is strong in you.
Pay cut? No. That's going too far.
Your home for everything Dallas Cowboys. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
We see you.
We hear you.
We denounce systemic racism.
We condemn violence, inequity, and injustice.
We pledge to use the power of our platform to spread facts and educate our communities.
We will be the change that we are calling for. We are united for justice.
Welcome back. He's James Pledger. I'm RJ Ochoa. These are the good times. That's right. I said it. The GTs, the good times. Pledge is typing away. Tap it away, tap it away, tap it away, tap it away now.
I'm sending you things.
What's your favorite word to type?
Actually, typing it this week, I really gotta kick off typing apology.
When you type the letter B, like for boy,
Blogging the boys.
Yeah. Do you use your left index finger or your right index finger?
Right. Because I'm right-handed.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
You can call it wrong. It's worked out just fine for me.
It's wrong though. Like it's incorrect in terms of like practices. So I mean, congrats, I guess, on being wrong. But
the B is closer to this set of fingers on the keyboard.
I know, but I'm telling you, I'm pretty certain I took typing in 3rd grade.
And
I remember,
did too.
I remember in 3rd grade.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I remember
we had computers, RJ.
I remember. I wasn't going.
It's
there.
not strictly a millennial thing.
That wasn't my point. But I remember, like, even in 3rd grade, being like, that doesn't make sense that it would be the left index finger because it's farther for the left index finger. But you know, it is what it is. Those are some good times. I remember, like, that was when I learned typing. That was when Where is Carmen Sandiego was like a big game at that point.
Where
I never played
in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
I honestly don't know what that is. Like, I never played it. I just remember.
It was a great game. It was a fun TV show.
It was a show?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, to solve mysteries, to catch a thief. Carmen
so
was tough.
I did not totally realize until yesterday when we had Jeff Garcia on that the NBA teams would be sending their Christopher Louis on Facebook says the B was taught to be struck by the right hand. Unless I see some paperwork that shows me that Christopher is an authorized typist teacher.
He's a notary.
No offense, Christopher.
It's fine.
I'm not convinced quite yet. But I did not realize that every NBA team would be taking their court with them to Orlando. That's like in the like world of things that are unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah, like, we really got to do this. We can't all just play on the worldwide, sports complex court. Really? Like that to me seems a little bit ridiculous that we have to do this. Do you agree? Or do you think it's important to have your court?
No, just play on the worldwide sports complex court, man. You don't need to fly in your home court. Like, it's okay. You're making this harder than it needs to be in a time where we really need to simplify things,
Yeah. I mean, I also think I don't know. And things are never as easy as you think they are. Why can't you, instead of focusing on having your team's logo on the court, which I realize is an important thing.
How about you focus on winning games?
Well, okay. I was going to say, why don't you put relief messages or relief funds on the court? You know what I mean? Like, focus on that.
Social justice funds.
Or use the court as an opportunity to advertise important messages and important causes. But we need to pick our team of the Saturday morning hangover.
We do.
That time has come.
But it's really hard to pick your team when teams who apparently didn't want to be a part of the process now want to be a part of the process.
So you're talking our process or the NBA's process?
The NBA's process.
Well, I don't think any team was opposed to our process. I think once these teams find out that
it's because we're smart. We know what's going on.
Well, what I meant is, like, if we called up like the Celtics and we were like, look, you're in the running for the team of the SMH. I'm certain that Danny Ainge would call it. You know what I mean? Like, but it would not be fair to bother them. They have a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? And so, but if they found out, they would, we'd get like fruit baskets and stuff, like trying to pitch us. You know what I mean? We'd be like the free agents in the Hamptons.
A lot of the teams that didn't get to go to the 22 team, and by a lot, I mean the 8, they reportedly want to have mini camps for player development this offseason, which it's so contrary to what, like, we don't want to risk getting injured. We don't want to risk this. We don't want to risk that. But
okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this and a lot of takes. But I'll save it. I'll save it for the next hour.
Our Hawks are one of those teams.
They're no longer our Hawks.
Yeah, they're about to no longer be our Hawks.
We're about to break up. Like right now, we're in middle school, and we're like, we're calling each other. Like, we're gonna break up with the Hawks. You know what I mean? Do you want to be on the phone? Do you want me to like call them, like a 3-way call?
Guess what? Let's do that next.
Peace
right
out,
here
Baytown.
On the Saturday Morning Hangover. He is RJ Ochoa. I'm James Pledger. This is 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays 9 till noon.
Time now for Celebrity Prognosticator. Hey, and now it is time for Celebrity Prognosticator. Let's win some money.
Rockmeyer is with us now. Green Bay at San Francisco. San Francisco's a 3-point favorite at home.
Yeah, people have been getting on Jimmy Garoppolo because he throws a lot of interceptions. But the way I see it, the man's an adult film aficionado. And he plays like a porn star. It's very messy, gets himself into positions that look terrifying, where you're certain he's going to hurt himself, but somehow everybody leaves happy. So I have faith in him. I'm going with the 49.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays 9 till noon, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. Where San Antonio talks Cowboys. The Blitz, weekdays 4 to 7.
Mark Ross, NFL Network analyst, joining us. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys after 10 years with Jason Garrett as a head coach, looking at the roster they have, what differences do you see mainly coming from Mike McCarthy now as being the new head coach?
The biggest thing will be Dak Prescott. And can Dak Prescott make that step to be an elite quarterback? It's paid him the money to do so. He's had enough time there to learn and grow. Okay, it wasn't, Jason maybe got a lot of blame for holding Dak back, or is it just Dak Prescott that he's not that guy? That Eagles game last year, I mean, there's no business at the end of the year the Cowboys should lose that game. And that pointed directly to they needed Dak Prescott to make plays. Carson Wentz made the plays. He didn't. So with the McCarthy influence, can he get Dak to that level of being an elite top 10 quarterback? And I think the whole season will be predicated on that.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. Making people wish Marconi never invented the radio. Dan Le Batard, Weekdays 9 till noon.
Can we examine this? The idea that Liam Neeson, after making a big sermon about pay should be equal, he was asked, would you take a pay cut to make that so? And his answer was a dance party no. And it was an immediate no. Yeah. And then he followed it with a bunch of little no's in the event that you didn't get his immediate no.
Yeah. Only on San Antonio Sports Leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. For everything Cowboys.
Touchdown, Cowboys.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM, where the pros play. KCDC San Antonio. James Pledger, RJ Ochoa, the Saturday Morning Hangover.
A todos al Saturday Morning Hangover aquí en 1250 ESPN San Antonio 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com. You can also watch us live on the Book of Faces. Go like ESPN San Antonio on Facebook. You can also watch us live on the Tuba Use. Go subscribe to the ESPN San Antonio YouTube channel. You can also watch us live on ESPNSA.com. He is James Pledger. I am RJ Ochoa. Welcome to the good times. Let them roll.
I thought you were going to say, welcome to the Thunderdome.
No, didn't feel right. There's a better way to put that. But yeah, welcome to our numero dos, James. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Refreshed. Ready to go. Ready to find our new team. By the way, should we call the Falcons? Or, I mean, the Hawks? Should we call them?
Do you want to be the Hawks or do you want to be us? And I'll be the other. I'll let you be one and I'll be the other. Who do you want to be?
I'm gonna be us. I'm gonna be us.
Okay. Ring. Yo, what up?
Hey, this is Saturday Morning Hangover down
long
here.
time no hear.
Yeah.
How y'all been?
We've been good. We're really looking forward.
Who is this?
This is the Saturday Morning Hangover. This is James Pledger, RJ Ochoa. You're our official team.
Us?
Yeah. Remember we told you last year when you were about to draft, right after the draft, and we were like, look, y'all are team on the rise. We got you. We're gonna pump you up. And
have you seen our uniforms? You picked us?
Yeah. Well, the uniform was part of it.
Really? Are you sure? You called the Hawks, right?
So the Hawks hate their own uniforms in this universe?
Well, I hate I didn't realize how much I didn't like the Hawks uniforms. Okay, I'm RJ once again.
Apparently, I've noticed.
Okay, that was a little fun, a little bit of role play. A little bit one act play going on. I think we could put on a show. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe if you could ever say a character.
But so we decided.
Mr. Schnellick. Is it
no,
pronounced?
Mr. Hawk. I'm
Mr. Hawk.
Mr. Hawk. Mr. Hawk is
just
fine,
Mr.
yeah.
Hawk. Okay.
Yeah, not Tony, but Mr. Hawk.
Mr. Hawk. Sorry. Just wanted to let you know, due to unforeseen circumstances such as COVID-19 and y'all not making it to Orlando with Disney World, the Saturday Morning Hangover is officially going to have to pick a new team for the postseason. It's not you, it's us.
You're breaking up with us.
It's not you, it's us. We need to find a team, and you aren't there. So okay, it's you.
Okay, wait a minute. Do you not know that at one point over the last decade, we were the number one seed in the East? Okay.
Look, Mr. Hawk, there's great. I remember Dominique Wilkins and the Human Highlight. Like, it was all great. Like, it was fun while it lasted. Dikembe Mutombo. Like, y'all were a fun little parlor trick. But
so we were a fling for you, is what you're saying.
The big boys are about to play, and you're not there, so you've kind of forced our hand. So this is really your fault.
We accept. Good luck.
Just be better.
We won't, but good luck in the future. We hope your team loses every game.
Wow, Mr. Hawk is surly.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you broke up with it. But okay. So we decided long ago to have teams of the Saturday Morning Hangover in a lot of capacities. Our college football team, really our college team of all levels. Big O, not Coach O and not OH, the Big O.
Rabble.
Oregon. The Oregon Ducks are our team. Shout out to the WNBA's number 1 overall pick, our girl Sabrina.
And shout out to the new Los Angeles Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert.
Right. Speaking of the Chargers, a little bit West Coast, obviously. Not quite West Coast. Our NFL team of the Saturday Morning Hangover, we mentioned a little while ago, the Arizona Cardinals. So we have our first team, I believe, of the SMH was an NBA team. We picked the Atlanta Hawks. We specifically chose them because we liked the youth. I don't remember liking the uniforms, but if you say so, we liked that they were an Eastern Conference team, didn't conflict with the Spurs, but it's time. We're moving on. We're
gotta
changing.
rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that was our like 6th grade.
You know what's funny? If we would have
relationship.
stuck with our initial team that we wanted and had John Morant gone to Phoenix, they're actually a part of the tournament.
If John Morant had been a Sun, this would not be a conversation because that was what we wanted, because we wanted Devin Booker and we wanted DeAndre Ayton and John Morant all on the same team. It did not work. That's not our fault. And dude, we would have been totally, if that had happened, by the way, I think we would have had to have shifted and gone from Oregon to like maybe Arizona State. Shout out to Erica Minix. You know what I mean? Like we would have had, because we would have been really Arizonaed out and, we would have had some Pac-12, conflicts going on. So, but that didn't happen. So we last week pledged, each proposed 5 NBA teams, and we wanted to wait.
Do you remember your 5?
I do, because you sent me the photo.
Okay.
But
that was in question this morning.
We each proposed 5 NBA teams that we wanted to wait until the playoff format was official before we chose. Thankfully, all 5 of each of our choices are eligible. Your 5, the Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Saints. I cannot read that third one. Maybe the New Orleans Pelicans.
It's Philly.
Wow. And then I guess and Portland. My 5, the Miami Heat, the Utah Jazz, the Memphis Grizzlies. Shout out to John Moran, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Denver Nuggets. Okay. I think this is the way we should do this.
Okay.
If anybody wants to, by the way, participate in our electing of the team of the Saturday Morning Hangover, this will be the team that we root for the rest of the NBA season and in parallel with the Spurs next NBA season and beyond until there's a new team of the SMH.
Obviously, Spurs are number 1. Pulling for them to do well.
Our Spurs are number 1. We're just picking our team to root for as a group. And so if you have some thoughts on this, you can certainly hit us up with the Keel Boss and Bacon phone lines. They are open 656-3776. That is 656-ESPN. You can tweet at us on the Maddie McMurphy's Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed. Pledge is at I am Pledger. I am at RGO Joe. You can also comment on Facebook, comment on YouTube. Let us know who you want to represent our show. It's all of us. All right. One band, one sound. And we have to pick a team. And it's got to be a lot of things. There's got to be like a superstar type player that we can rally behind. It's got to be a team that's good at social media for us to have some fun with, a team with some fun, uniforms, and Pledge instead of, I think we should go process of elimination.
Okay.
I think, do you happen to have a coin in your office?
I don't, but you know what I can do? I can immediately take Portland out. I'm going to boot them. Process of elimination.
What I was going to say was we should each veto somebody from the other's list until we're left with 2, one from mine and one from yours.
Okay. Well, if we're going to veto one on each list, then I say...
Well, that's not fair. Now I have to veto Portland. You took away my first veto.
No, you can veto whoever you want.
Well, now I know that Portland's not going to be the team. What if I leave Portland? That would be awkward.
No way. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I will veto first.
Okay.
I will veto Philly. I don't want to root for Philly anything. There's a lot, and I don't want to have my NBA secondary hopes tied to Ben Simmons. Sorry. So I'm vetoing Philly.
Okay. I'm going to veto.
Great uniform.
I'm going to veto, and it hurts my heart because of how much I love John Morant.
Oh,
but I got to veto Memphis because they are direct competition.
Yeah, that's the earliest point of conflict, to be fair. Okay, so this is tough already. I'll go ahead and veto Portland. I don't want to leave that there.
Also
and chance it.
competition. I get it.
Right. Okay, that means it's your turn to veto.
Okay, so if it's my turn to veto, I am going to take out the Utah Jazz because you get likely most reports we've seen, you got to play them twice if you're San Antonio. So
true.
I got to get that off the list because if we're cheering for the Spurs too, we can't obviously cheer for Utah.
Pledge's point is a good one. While the phone rings, that's how the show is. You know, we're just honest. We're honest with the way everything's rolling here. Is the phone under control? Or no, Pledge is on the phone. I'm a little bit bummed. If you're watching the show today, I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt. Spider-Man's my guy. I used him in an awesome analogy on Friday. And my PS4, Pledge knows this, is the Spider-Man themed one. That is the greatest game I've ever played, the latest Spider-Man game for PS4. And so it really legitimately hurts my heart to lose Donovan Mitchell here because of the whole Spider-Man thing and everything. So I am legitimately bummed. So where we are left, we each have 3 teams left in the running to be the official team of the Saturday Morning Hangover. Pledge has the Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks, and the New Orleans Pelicans. Those were his first 3 picks. 2 of my first 3 picks are gone. I only have 1 Eastern Conference team left. So if we're looking to keep things as Spurs friendly as possible, you know, and the 1 Eastern Conference team is probably Spurs fans' least favorite Eastern Conference team in the Miami Heat. So I have Miami, Oklahoma City, and Denver. Is the phone situation under control?
Under
We're good
control.
there? Okay, cool.
Somebody wanted us to take the Bucks. Why weren't they listed? We left out the top 2 teams in each conference because it's just way too easy to take the best team available.
Let me be clear here. The Bucks are my 2 teams. Right. RJ Ochoa loves the Bucks. Obviously, there's a Spurs reason to root for the
Loves
Bucks.
him, Giannis.
Right. Giannis is the man, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to Pledge's point, we eliminated, was it Toronto and Milwaukee, and then both LA teams. Obviously, we wouldn't make either LA team the team of the SMH. Milwaukee would have been fun, but it would have been way too easy to Pledge's point. Okay, so I think is it my turn or it's your turn to?
I just eliminated the Jazz, so it is your turn.
Okay. You have Boston, Dallas, and New Orleans left.
Yes.
And again, this will be the team of the SMH, including into next season. We have to factor that in here. You know, we can't just live in the moment, Pledge. All right. You know, as fun as it is, you know, the moment is, you know, I obviously cover the Dallas Cowboys on an everyday basis. Hang on. and so I think it would I do not hate the Mavericks like most Spurs fans. And a lot of it is because of the work I do covering the Cowboys. There's obviously a lot of ripple effect and crossover with the Mavericks. So
I find hate for the Mavs hard too on Spurs fans because part of the reason they hate them is Ginobili's foul, which is Ginobili thing, not a Dallas thing.
So I'm going to leave the Mavs in because I like the possibility, and I like the idea of an olive branch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm gonna leave the Mavs in as much as it pains me, because I love their uniforms. I'm gonna get rid of the Celtics because to me, I'm leaving the Mavs and
Pelicans.
Dude, again, Zion. I mean,
direct competition.
I know. I mean, this is tough. Look. Clearly, I think we're going to end up with a situation where there's a Western Conference team that's representing the SMH.
Wow,
and we didn't have
my
that
number 1. It makes me want to take your number 1 now.
We didn't have that conflict of interest last time, and so look, I think we're mature enough to handle, you know, a Western Conference team being the team of the SMH. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's mix it up. Let's grow a little bit. Let's challenge ourselves emotionally and intellectually. So,
you're going to make me spite the Heat out.
If you want to spite them, then you are the one making us root for a Western Conference team because there's only 1 Eastern Conference team left.
Because you took mine.
I'm just saying, like this got complicated fast, and Pledge's teams left, the Mavs and the Pelicans. My teams left, the Heat, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. Go ahead, Pledge. Eliminate 1.
Oh man. Because I was expecting it to come down to the Celtics and the Heat.
Oh, I wasn't.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna get rid of Denver first.
To me, Denver was my version of New Orleans. That was how I felt about them. They felt like, I don't know why. To me, they were just.
They don't have a Zion.
I know, but like, I don't know what it was about.
There's nothing exciting about them. They're more
they have
San
Jokic,
Antonio
though.
than anything.
They have Jokic, who will drink more Coca-Cola than anybody in the history of the world. So I mean, that's a cool thing. But okay, we're down to the final four. Let's take a break. Let's gather our feelings, and let's make sure we're in the right state of mind to choose the team of the Saturday morning hangover. The 4 teams left in the running: the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Miami Heat, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Wow, there is a lot of Spurs conflict here. What are your thoughts? Who should represent the SMH? Let us know. The Matty Murphy's Irish Sports Bar Twitter feed. He is at I Am Pledger. I am at RJ Ochoa. You can dial us in 656-ESPN, 656-3776 on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. We're picking the team of the Saturday morning hangover next after this.
Geico has the insurance industry-leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere, which means that Geico is always there for you, if only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your garage by an angry possum.
Hi, me again. You guys said you would be here about an hour ago, and I think the possum is starting to get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is ripping holes in the drywall and making some sort of nest. Just call me back.
Geico, always there for you with savings and the industry-leading mobile app.
When I found out my jeans were made using child labor in sweatshops, I wrote a letter to the company saying, reconsider your labor practices. A few months later, I get a letter back saying, thanks for being a loyal customer, and they included a coupon for a 25% discount on their jeans. So I got smart, wrote letters every day to all the stores that carry the brand, asking them to stop supporting the companies who use child labor in sweatshops. And I just kept getting letters back, thanking me for my concerns, and more coupons for more discounts on more jeans. So I'm telling my friend about it, and she flips out, saying that between all the letters and coupons, some paper company cut down a small forest, driving off 2 indigenous tribes, hundreds of endangered animals, killing thousands of plant species, some of which may have contained vaccines for HIV, cancer, and syphilis. Meanwhile, the guys cutting down the trees are 13-year-old kids who will work night and day for months just to save up enough money to buy a pair of jeans made by child labor in sweatshops.
Saving the world isn't easy, but saving a life is. Just 1 pint of blood can save up to 3 lives. Visit bloodsaves.com to learn more. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ad Council.
Tomorrow on an all-new 30 for 30.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee.
An intimate look
America was not ready for an Asian hero.
at the passion and philosophy of a legend.
Be water, my friend.
A 30 for 30 premiere, Be Water, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Brought to you by Light Sky by Blue Moon, AT&T, and Bank of America.
Oh, I know that I'll regret this when I'm sober. But every shot I'm getting closer, getting closer. Is it true that 80 proof is the reason I'm with you? Oh, I know that I'll regret this when it's over.
Sometimes you gotta let the emotions sit for a bit. All right, there's a
What
lot.
are you doing?
There's a lot happening here. A lot of feelings. Everybody has
It's mostly
some thoughts.
hate.
We are in the middle of picking the official team of the Saturday Morning Hangover, official NBA team for now and the foreseeable future. We are down to a final 4.
It's for this
Okay.
season.
Well, it might ripple over into next season, but the newest team, for the length is TBD. Our final 4, we each had chosen a handful of teams ourselves, you and I, to present.
Yeah.
And we've whittled away.
And
6
one of
them.
us has been spiteful. The other one's keeping
Okay.
his temper.
Your final 2, the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans. My final 2, the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I have a proposal for you. All right. I typically cave to a lot of peer pressure, and the takes are out, and there are a lot of people who want to see Boston back in the mix. Okay. I think we should both be allowed an extra
A save.
A save. Yeah. I get to save one of yours. You get to save one of mine because we've both vetoed. We've both had some time to see what people think. And I get to save one of yours. You get to save one of mine. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. This is the second half. And anything can happen in the second half. Just because the other team hit
What,
a
are you
buzzer
gonna say
beater at the end of the
Portland?
first half doesn't mean anything. I will save Boston. Boston's back in the mix. Okay. So everybody just relax. We can still land on the Celtics. Who do you want to save of the Jazz, the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets?
Memphis.
You want John Moran back.
Plus the uniforms.
Right. Okay. Now you get to eliminate. Well, you get to go first now. If you want to eliminate Memphis and just kind of ruin the drama of that, it's up to you. But
No, I'll eliminate Oklahoma City.
So now I'm left with Miami and Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Oklahoma City would have been like, I could have convinced myself that was fun.
It's very Spurs-ish because Sam Presti and everything, but it's also very it's close.
I will eliminate Dallas. I'll do it. All right. It would have been fun.
There's a lot of people that don't want to see Dallas there because they have some unknown hate.
Okay, Luka's great.
He is
gone. Okay.
Luka's out.
We're down to 4. Okay. I've got Miami and Memphis. You have Boston and New Orleans. Eliminate one.
One of mine?
No, eliminate. Ooh, I kind of like that spin. Yeah. Eliminate one of our own.
I'm gonna eliminate New Orleans. It's direct competition. Why? The Spurs have to get ahead of both New Orleans and Memphis. If we're going to be also pulling for the Spurs during this postseason, we can't have somebody in direct competition with that.
Okay. That's fair. That's a great point. Zion's fun.
Zion's great. I love him.
In a truly, emotionless world, New Orleans would have been fun. But we all realize, it can't be. You know what I mean? It just can't. It can't. And you know what? You said a minute ago before the break that you thought this was going to come down to Miami and Boston. All right.
It did.
A classic Eastern Conference final showdown. It's going to come down to the Heat and the Celtics. I'm taking out the Grizzlies.
Obviously.
Right? I'm a man of the people. Okay. Here's why. It has nothing to do with John Moran or the Grizzlies or anything like that. Here's the thing. We had our first relationship with the Hawks. All right. You called, you handled the breakup, and respect to you, manning up and covering for me. All right. I want to commit. All right. I want to have a team of the Saturday morning hang. The way we're committed to Oregon, you know what I mean? We're strong with the Ducks. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't you just talk about wanting to leave them for an Arizona team?
I said that we would have if the Suns had been our NBA team. All right. That's a different world. If we were a different person. Okay. But I want to commit, and I want this to be our team for the foreseeable future. I think we knew, Pledge, when we got into it with the Hawks, we knew that was a short-term thing. We just
wanted to spread our seeds out there.
Yeah, we knew that we weren't gonna, get an apartment with the Hawks. That was never gonna happen. And so I'm thinking long.
Were the Hawks the call from the bar as you're leaving?
I don't know about that, but I want the white picket fence. All right. I want the tire swing. I want it all. Okay. And that's what I'm looking for here. All right. Whether it's with the Heat or the Celtics. And we needed it to be an Eastern Conference team if that future was a possibility. All right. We had to. It was one of those situations like our parents didn't like the Hawks. It was just never going to work. It was never going to work. So if that's the goal, because we're down to our final two, Miami and Boston, I think we should make the case for each other's team. And my case is that if we're going to get into this thing long-term, if we're going to follow them on Instagram, all right, if we're going to do this thing the right way, we can't have any
Do we get
any
break up with
emotional
the Hawks on Instagram too, or on Twitter?
Oh, I unfollowed the Hawks long ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you broke up before I did.
We can't have any emotional baggage coming into this. There's a great episode of How I Met Your Mother that's about baggage, and they use literal luggage to make the metaphorical point, etc. We can't come into this with anything. All right. And while I love the Miami Vice jerseys, there is emotional baggage when it comes to the Miami Heat, and that's why the Boston Celtics should be the team of the Saturday morning hangover.
Oh wow!
Look,
wow. The Boston Celtics.
I brought the Celtics back from the dead, Pledge.
Hold on. While the Celtics have great uniforms,
great
traditional.
hardwood. They have a great court.
The great court,
the garden,
the TD Garden. It's not the Boston Garden.
It can, but you can call it the Garden.
While they have a young, up and rising superstar and Jason Tatum, who is only 21 years old. The Miami Heat, they have South Beach. They have the Vice jerseys. They have the history with Dwayne Wade. They have him at games all the time because he is an ambassador, much the way Tim Duncan is to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, but
plus,
he's still getting
they
the jersey
have
retired.
Jimmy Buckets, Houston's own Jimmy Buckets. They've got a youth movement with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. Like, they've got the pieces that could make this thing long term.
There's a lot of logic to that. And I think that who knows what free agency is going to look like. I think because of all that, Miami could be a hip free agency destination.
Miami's, according to reports, got the ability to open up some cap space in 2021 for the big time free agents when those hit the market again, the Giannis's.
Well, that's way down the road.
Well, you said you wanted long term. Jimmy Buckets will keep you there in the short term with an eye on the future.
They have Brad. They have a Brad. I mean, think
about
that.
A Brad.
We've been looking for a Brad this whole time.
Have we?
Right? On some level, I think on some level everybody's looking for a Brad. So look, man. The Celtics also are a classic NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
While the Heat are a legitimate NBA franchise.
And a lot of draft picks.
And they've had a lot of success. That's right. The Celtics are, this is classic. This is Coca-Cola. This is, Miller Lite. This is, OG McDonald's fries with the Monopoly peel-off sticker before we all saw the documentary that really rocked our worlds about that game. This is classic. This is, this is toes in the sand at the beach, although that's the most opposite of Boston you could possibly get. They have lobster rolls. And now that Tom Brady's gone from New England, tell me the Celtics aren't the biggest ticket in town.
Well, while you want to go toes in the sand, I can actually go toes in the sand on South Beach.
Miami.
Plus, we get to play this.
Can y'all feel that?
Damn.
If you want to hear Will Smith's Miami every time we get to talk about the Heat.
Also, the Heat.
Although on the other side of that, I could play shipping up to Boston.
These details have made this so much harder,
right? Because now when we talk about the team, we can have intro music, and that's a big deal.
Here's the thing. I always lean classic. All right. What jersey, normal home jersey, would you rather wear? What team has all the legends, has all the banners? What team proudly wears Boston across their chests?
I thought after all that, you were going to be like, which team has Michael Jordan's jersey in the rafters?
But think about it too. We brought the Celtics back. What a story, man. If the Celtics go from being counted out to the team of dude, if our number one team is the Spurs, our number two team cannot be the only finals loss in Spurs history. It just can't.
That's a really fair point.
All in favor of the Boston Celtics being the team of the Saturday morning hangover. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. We're shipping up to Boston. We did it. Gonna watch The Town. Gonna watch The Departed. Gonna watch Fever Pitch. Gonna watch
What was that one movie? What was that one crazy movie where they stole Damon Wayans?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, it was Celtic Pride or something like that. It was Dan Aykroyd and Damon Wayans, and he was like this huge Celtics fan. And Damon Wayans was playing basically the best player on, I think it was Los Angeles that they were playing against. I can't remember, but he kidnaps him basically to help the Celtics win a game 7. Then they form this unlikely friendship over the kidnapping, and he gets him to the game in time to help.
Well,
funny.
That movie is now associated with us, Pledge. All right. The Boston Celtics, the official team of the Saturday morning hangover, which is going to present a huge conflict for me when the Eastern Conference Finals in Orlando are Milwaukee and Boston.
Yeah.
So,
but look at it this way. You can't lose in an Eastern Conference Finals if that's the case.
That's a great point. And my favorite color is green. So like I'm just
ditto.
I'm covered here.
Now, do you like the classic Celtic green or the white with the green jersey? Like, what's your favorite kit?
I'm always a fan of the white jerseys in the NBA because I like home jerseys more than anything. And for so long that's typically been the case. Now, of road jerseys, classic road jerseys, the Celtics have the best because the green is really, it embodies the whole Celtic thing and everything. Also, I like that we can call them the Celts. Like there's something cool about that. I also, in extremely rare conditions, I like the black Celtics jersey. That's one of the cooler OG alternates.
Small little detail of the Celtics uniform that I don't think gets enough credit.
Oh, can I guess? The clover on the shorts.
The clover on the shorts.
Totally
right there
agree.
On the waistband, dude.
Totally agree. You know what, Pledge? I think we got to get Celtic shorts. I think we have to. We had talked for a while about getting some Hawks jersey shirts. That's lame. Jersey shirts are so 2018. Let's get some Celtic shorts.
I'm about it. The authentic ones, because I have a pair, but it's the.
Don't you have a pair of Duke shorts?
I have a pair of Duke shorts too.
I thought you wore them in Oxnard.
I did.
Right. Okay.
They're very comfy.
We'll have to decide who gets to get the white ones and who has to get the green ones when it comes to the Celtic shorts.
I think we can handle that.
Okay. Speaking of Oxnard, let's talk about the Cowboys. Let's talk about the NFL. Now that we have an official team of the Saturday morning hangover, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. Okay.
Oh, we're going on that? That's where we're going?
I thought that was obvious. We're going to break. We'll see you in a minute.
What does Andy Dalton mean for the future of Dak Prescott?
I think it was a pipe dream to think that Andy Dalton would come to Dallas to be a backup, but for him to sign with Dallas for 1 year, $3 million, I was stunned. And I think it's ludicrous if you're on the train that says this is going to put any pressure on Dak Prescott to sign his deal any sooner. He is nothing more than a veteran backup, which also tells me the Dallas Cowboys are all in on this season.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
The Backyard Butchers are open in brand new locations right now with 20 ribeyes for $29. That's almost $1 a steak. Look for the big white truck in the parking lot at Windsor Park Center in Windcrest, Rolling Oaks Mall and South Park Mall in San Antonio, at Floresville Tractor Supply, and Bandera Point in Helotes by Target. Remember, look for the big white truck to get 20 ribeyes for $29. Also, stock up on T-bones, crab legs, shrimp, chicken, and pork. Go to thebackyardbutchers.com for more info. Thebackyardbutchers.com.
Hi, this is Mark, Jerry, and Richard from the band OAR, and we're on a mission to help America's paralyzed veterans.
We all love our families and want what's best for them. But where would you turn if a loved one was critically injured while serving our country?
What if your brother couldn't get the specialized care he needed when he returned home paralyzed from the war in Iraq? Or your husband couldn't secure his military benefits after being injured by an IED blast in Afghanistan?
Or your daughter was disabled while serving her country and couldn't secure a job when she returned home?
Brothers, husbands, and daughters, all who have served, need our help now.
That's why OAR has joined Paralyzed Veterans of America's Mission Able campaign,
dedicated to helping the brave men and women who have served and sacrificed for our country.
Enlisting all Americans to help veterans receive what they need most: care, benefits, and jobs.
They fought for us, and now we need to fight for them. To learn more, visit mission-able.com, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Okay.
don't know if you remember this, but I was out of town. Doing on to 3 a.m. just to show up and hear your sounds. Multiple times.
Yo! Welcome back. Saturday morning anniversary on the ESPN San Antonio 94.5 FM. The official ambassadors of the Boston Celtics. Pledge and I are seriously already looking into getting some Boston Celtics shorts. Congratulations to us, Pledge. Seriously, we have Jason Tatum. We have Gordon Hayward, Kemba. I mean, our squad is ready
And
to roll.
Jaylen Brown.
And Jaylen Brown. Seriously. How is this a competition?
First round draft picks, like lottery picks.
Seriously. We did the right thing. We did the right thing. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to me. Congratulations to our Celtics. The C's, the Celtics. Yeah. Down.
And congratulations to Chris Hero on YouTube. His comments, I think, broke you.
Yeah, actually, it was. And ironically, because Tyler Hero's on the Heat. You know what I mean? Like, there was something about that just moved me. You know, so Chris Hero, today's official MVP on today's episode of Saturday Morning Hangover. Shout out.
Doesn't Tyler Hero look like he would be a Celtic though?
He does, and I've thought this for a long time. The name Tyler Hero sounds like the lead character on like a Disney or a Nickelodeon cartoon. You know what I mean? Like what was it, like Danny Phantom? You know what I mean? Like Tyler Hero to me is like in that box. But we don't have to worry about that until the second round of the playoffs when we wipe them out. You know, yeah. Man, imagine taking our Celtics hardwood all the way to Orlando.
That would be awesome.
They're gonna. I mean,
Are they taking the courts?
I thought so.
Do we know?
That's what Jeff said yesterday.
Well, I know he said it, but I thought it was something that had been like discussed and not agreed to.
Well, if that happens, shout out to our equipment staff. You know, I mean, they work hard. But anyway, so the Dallas Cowboys will not be heading to Oxnard. The Houston Texans will not be headed to the Greenbrier. All NFL teams training at home. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's inevitable. In terms of, we have the NBA returning in a bubble city in Orlando. We have Major League Baseball, if they return, talking about 3 10-team divisions. And there's the possibility of no fans. Yeah, that makes sense that they wouldn't be boarding a flight, packing up, taking up all these hotel rooms in a resort, or I guess condo rooms in a resort. And on top of that, flying cross country. Like, it makes sense. Yes, you can do all of that from Oxnard. You could probably do more, because in terms of Frisco and the Star Complex, McCarthy and the offense, they got to get on the right page. They've got a brand new defensive system and scheme, and probably coaches that want to teach different techniques that the secondary and other have not used in a very long time. So I think the ability to just kind of hit the ground running, be home, you can bunker mentality at the Star in Frisco with all those hotels that they have literally on top of the practice field anyway. I feel it's just not only the smart thing to do, but I think it actually may be the best thing for the Cowboys to do in terms of what this offseason is and getting up to speed for a regular season with the new coaching staff as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's business reasons for the Cowboys or any NFL team to train somewhere that isn't their home base. I mean, the Cowboys have a strong following on the West Coast, and they're America's team and everything. And so heading out to Oxnard every year kind of reinforces that. But I mean, it makes the most efficient sense for them to stay in Frisco. I mean, especially it would make sense if you were any team, but if you're the Cowboys and you have this, no matter how many trucks you take, you can never have in Oxnard what you have available in Frisco. The Minnesota Vikings have a similar elaborate training complex. And so I wonder if, players will say, dude, this was super awesome. Let's never do that ever again. Plus,
that won't happen, by the way.
Right. I mean, it's not like players are upset about going to California in the summertime. You know what I mean? But more. There's a lot. Obviously, with so many precautions being put into place, we've seen the NBA have some rules on family members and things like that. I mean, if you're an NFL player, if you're a Cowboy or whatever, it's harder to get your family out if you're going to be in a quarantine bubble for training camp. And so now, to your point, I don't know if the Cowboys will stay at the Omni. I don't know if they'll be allowed to just go and come from home, but either way, their families will be much closer than they would if they went all the way to California.
And that's a good thing, both for the players and the staff, because like I said, this is a brand new coaching staff. And I truly believe that as much time with the coaches around the facility and having things that you wouldn't necessarily have in Oxnard at your fingertips at the Star will be of huge importance to basically getting this coaching staff and these players on the same page as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's notable that Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys staff are now allowed back at the Star. I think every team except for the 49ers are allowed back in their own facilities. You can accomplish a lot on Zoom. I think a lot of the world businesses are doing that, but it's certainly not the same as being at your desk, in your office and things like that. And so being able to meet in the same room, in a socially distanced way, et cetera. And I think having access to a lot of film and a lot of resources, et cetera, you don't have that at home, no matter what. It's impossible to replicate that. And so Mike McCarthy's back, and that's a good thing. I feel like the national pulse on Mike McCarthy has really shifted these last few months. Like football. Well, no football has been played, obviously, since Mike McCarthy was hired by the Cowboys. But I think his status as an NFL head coach is significantly more renowned. Not that, I mean, the guy's a Super Bowl winning head coach, but I think when he was first hired by the Cowboys, there was a lot of like, you know what I mean? And now there's a lot of like, dude, Mike McCarthy. Like, what do you think changed that?
I think his time away from the game helped. It's
but
time away
over these last months, though. Like, what
it
changed
was the
over
draft.
these last months?
It was the draft.
That's a good point.
The Cowboys, by all accounts, did not miss on one single draft pick. And as a guy who prides himself in kind of watching film and getting things ready for the draft, the fact that you got Bradley and Nye in the 5th round is unparalleled.
Pretty big deal. And I think you're right. And I don't know how much credit specifically Mike McCarthy deserves for that, because a lot of that is the Cowboys scouting department and whatnot, and Will McClay and everybody. But
there was that thing that came out where he was like, well, we can get you CeeDee Lamb, or we can get you. And I was like, dude, get the best player. Like, do you go get me the best player? I'll make the things work. That little tidbit came out after the pick of CeeDee Lamb. And when that tidbit came out, like, Cowboys fans just immediately wrap their arms around him.
If we're talking about the change, I wrote something last week at Blogging the Boys that was, and I'll just ask you the question. What do you feel most differently about the Cowboys today than you did today a year ago? And it can be positive or negative, but what opinion has changed the most for you? Like the answers I suggested were Dak Prescott a year ago, and there's still people that aren't believers in Dak Prescott, but a year ago there were even less, and Dak had a season that I think brought a lot of people around. An answer was Michael Gallup. A year ago it was like, he's okay, but now it's like, dude's a superstar. I also think an interesting answer is Jason Witten. A year ago it was, Gold Jacket Witt's coming back, and now it's like, dude, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of changes that have happened in terms of perception. What has changed the most for you?
I think the ability of the front office has changed the most. Whether it's Jerry and Steven, whether it's Will McClay, whether it's Mike McCarthy, it's finding the people and that they think are going to be the best fit for this team, and they've resoundingly killed it, whether it was Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy, and Aldon Smith, or whether it was Clinton Dix at safety for just $6 million, or whether it was Trayvon Diggs in the 2nd round. Like, they, at every point this offseason, Steven Jerry, Will McClay seem to have made the right move. Like there's not one move that I can point to and go, that was a bad move.
I agree. And that was, I think most people's answer was that their
biggest gaffe is the fact that Dak still isn't signed.
Right. The thing that most people have come around on, if you want to put it that way, is that they now trust the front office. I think a year ago was whatever, this front office, this team will find a way to mess it up or whatever, however pessimistic you were. Whereas now there is this belief that, they'll figure it out. They'll do the right thing, et cetera. They'll get it done. And I think that people still feel that way about the Dak thing. They'll get that done, even though there is this level of like, what is taking so long? You're right. That's the final infinity stone that they have to collect.
I like that.
I mean, I'll be here all week. But speaking of being here all week, what will happen over the course of the next week?
Already? Has it been an hour and 45 minutes already?
Judging by the clock saying 10:45, I think it has, and that we started at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's the way time works until you collect that final infinity stone. Because then you can make the rules yourself. But
I should go find that thing then.
Well, go find that during the break, and when you come back, you can tell me something that will happen over the course of the next week in the world of sports. We'll do that after this on the Saturday Morning Hangover.
ESPN San Antonio's Dad's Distancing Dough, presented by Southern Recipe Small Batch. Enter to win now at ESPNSA.com and give Dad the best gift ever. The chance at $1,000 plus a year's supply of Southern Recipe Small Batch pork rinds. ESPN San Antonio's Dad's Distancing Dough. Online now at ESPNSA.com. Another way it pays to listen to ESPN San Antonio all day, every day.
Geico has the insurance industry-leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere. Which means that Geico is always there for you, if only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your garage by an angry possum.
Hi, me again. You guys said you would be here about an hour ago, and I think the possum is starting to get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is ripping holes in the drywall and making some sort of nest. Just call me back.
Geico, always there for you with savings and the industry-leading mobile app.
What would you do for team?
I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that itch. And I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you going to do?
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Tomorrow on an all-new 30 for 30.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee.
An intimate look
America was not ready for an Asian hero.
at the passion and philosophy of a legend.
Be water, my friend.
A 30 for 30 premiere, Be Water, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Brought to you by Light Sky by Blue Moon, AT&T, and Bank of America.
If you like pina coladas,
we hope
get caught in the rain.
There's no sign of rain in San Antonio. It's actually
Finally.
really hot. It's going to be really hot. Welcome to the summer. And welcome back to the Saturday Morning Hangover. Not the summer morning hangover. Although there's a lot of summer morning hangovers. James Pledger, RJ Ochoa, with you. What's going to happen over the world of sports over the next week?
Well, I can tell you for sure that at least one, I assume both of us will have our brand new Boston Celtics shorts.
That's true.
I propose that we wear them next Saturday in solidarity with our new
I'm
team.
down. Super down.
I also might have to get a shirt just to go with it to match it,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that at some point next week we'll be bumping back to this.
I don't disagree at all.
I mean, I feel like that's a real possibility. And I think as far apart as baseball feels right now,
Oh, I was going to go baseball too. Good call.
I think they're going to be closer. Like, I think we're going to start to see them like it was, let's do 82. How about 114? How about like 50 to 60? We'd like more. How about 48? I think we're going to start to get closer back towards the initial proposal of 82.
Okay.
Somewhere in that 80 to 82 range. Like, we're going to start to hear talks of full prorated salaries, no additional cuts, basically about half the season.
I think that's a great prediction. And I think
it's a week early, probably.
But
we're going to hear talk trending towards that, towards the
Right.
end of the week.
I think that a big time MLB player will, maybe it's like a Garrett Cole or somebody will step out and be like, this is ridiculous. What's taking so long or whatever. I think that an NBA team's head coach that is not going to Orlando will say that this season has an asterisk. We'll hear one of their, or maybe one of their players, somebody prominent associated with a team that's not going to Orlando, will be the one to say that this season has an asterisk.
And I'll help you add to it. I bet we hear from like an NBA, like a Shaq,
like a legend.
Yeah, like one of the legends. Somebody's going to come out and call it an asterisk season 2, which is dumb because everyone's playing, right? Everyone agreed to it.
I actually think I'll go a step further, and somebody will add the LeBron wrinkle. They'll say if LeBron wins this title, it will have like they'll specify that, like because it will have to be about LeBron. Somebody will say if LeBron wins this title, it's not the same.
It's not like Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's gonna LeBron, and then they'll turn it into like LeBron's leg, and then that comment will be like regurgitated and aggregated by like every talk show, like so and so says that LeBron's LA title would have an asterisk, blah blah blah.
Here's my favorite thing about the asterisk. Does anybody put an asterisk on any of the Major League Baseball seasons that were strike shortened?
The official statisticians do.
Is there really an asterisk on the Spurs' first title? I only hear like one or two people ever really complain about it.
I mean, I think all those things happened in a social media-less world. And so I think that the screaming of that will be, a lot louder now that we live in an era where everything is talked about all the time ad nauseum. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And Mike, you're right. I think Barkley will be one of the ones to come out and say the season has an asterisk on it. But to me, everyone's playing by the exact same rules. Everyone's going by yes, it's different and it should be noted as such, but it still counts the same. It's not an asterisk in terms of a championship. It's an asterisk in terms of an entire season.
No, I agree. I mean, it will be weird. Like it will be a unique title. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know Jeff.
What if the race for Sace ended like this?
Oh, dude. See, like, or what if?
That would be so funny.
You said race for Sace, but what if, and the Spurs are obviously a good example of this, but what if like a prominent group's last title was won this way? You know what I mean? Like people would always say like, well, that dynasty ended with the asterisk. Like there's different ways. There's a lot of narratives, and that's why like Jeff McDonald said yesterday on the Blitz, he's used Milwaukee as an example. And I think Milwaukee's an interesting narrative to consider because what if this is a lot of what ifs, but what if Giannis and the Bucks win it all this year and then Giannis never gets another one? You know what I mean? People will always say like, oh, well, his one title, was the asterisk year of 2020. It was in Orlando, there were no fans, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think people will lean on that for a long time. Or like not like 76ers fans. You know what I mean? Like it will depend on who wins. But
now the worst thing would be if Giannis were to quote unquote win that title and then leave.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then win several others elsewhere. That would, whatever. I can tell you what, though, if our Celtics win this title,
no
asterisks there.
asterisks.
No, the only thing on there that looks like an asterisk is a clover, just like it's going to be in the middle of our shorts.
Boom.
Yeah, like a belt buckle.
I'm very excited. I'm checking out now.
I actually think my prediction's more likely than yours. Like, I think that's somebody's been incubating that take for a while. Like, and we've seen like baby microscopic versions of it, but now that we know the way the playoff format's going to work and everything, it and actually I think the asterisk talk would be louder if it was like, if the Suns rallied, you know what I mean? Like, it would be like, well, they wouldn't have done that. Like, I think the asterisk would be worse for a 5 seed or lower, because the talk will be, oh, you wouldn't have been able to have done that in a normal NBA playoff season. Like, if the Bucks do it, I think that over time people will come around to, dude, they were the best team in the NBA all year long. Like, they were the best team in the NBA that year. But like I'm saying, if like the Rockets did it, I think there would be a lot of asterisk talk about that. But I think people want to pounce on asterisk talk for some people and some players.
It's sad that they want to do that, but I get it because of the way that the season is. So we'll find out. I think your take is obviously a lot closer than mine, just because I prefaced it with, I think we'll start to hear talk of it getting closer, but I think we're a couple of weeks away from them actually coming to an agreement on.
Well, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. This was a big day for them.
It really was. I've got to go follow them on Twitter now.
I've already hit them with the follow on the IG and the Twitter.com. They came from behind, man. They really, really, really did. Shout out
Cinderella story from literally out of nowhere.
Seriously. Tatum, Hayward, Kemba, Jaylen Brown. Our squad's pretty solid.
Apparently Pop just made a really, really big comment. There's a video.
Wow.
We don't have time for it,
but on Monday.
We'll talk about it Monday on the Blitz right here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPN San Antonio. Thanks for joining us right here on the Saturday Morning Hangover.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With high cranking power and reserve capacity, Superstart batteries provide all the power your vehicle demands and more. Turn the key with confidence. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Backyard Butchers are open in brand new locations right now with 20 ribeyes for $29. That's almost $1 a steak. Look for the big white truck in the parking lot at Windsor Park Center in Windcrest, Rolling Oaks Mall and South Park Mall in San Antonio, at Floresville Tractor Supply, and Bandera Point in Helotes by Target. Remember, look for the big white truck to get 20 ribeyes for $29. Also, stock up on T-bones, crab legs, shrimp, chicken, and pork. Go to thebackyardbutchers.com for more info. Thebackyardbutchers.com.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. He weighed 1 pound, 7 ounces. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His brain wasn't ready. At the hospital, the nurses said Daniel was a fighter, and they would do all they could to help him. The doctor said even with the best care, Daniel may never walk. He may never see. He may never learn. Daniel's parents spent night after night